Greetings, Grimdark enjoyers. We're back. Back with another hobby stream after quite a while. Today we'll be painting some trim on this. Counts as Lorgar. Okay, so we're going to be using some Vallejo Dura Aluminum as our base color here. It's a bit bright. It's a bit bright for what I would usually prefer for my word bearers, which is more of like a gunmetal sort of metallic color. So I'm going to mix in a bit of black primer and see where that leads. Alrighty, I think I got a good color mixed up, and I also brought up some references for myself for this painting project here. Figured it's worth having references of the 30K model and the painted product from Artel. Always useful to have some reference on hand. Alright, well, let's begin. Definitely feel like I'll need a couple coats. Just already I can feel the consistency is not quite enough. Spicy Jacob says, Lorgar, nice. Can't wait to see how it turns out. I think it'll turn out pretty rad, if I'm being honest. It's just such a good sculpt. But yes, it is indeed it counts as Lorgar. Let's get a brush with maybe a bit more of a point. Oh, the joys of painting trim. You know, painting a Primarch makes it a little bit more enjoyable, I think. I've sort of been loafed in on the regularly scheduled hobby streams, mostly because I feel somewhat obligated to dedicate these streams to Lorgar here, and because of that, and the desire to paint Tyranids instead, I just haven't been hobby streaming. You only have so much hobby time, right? You gotta kind of pick and choose with your projects. And based on the current hobby goals at the moment, I believe Tyranids are more of a priority than the word bearers. Look at that thigh plate. The metallic is doing its job of breaking up these armor panels. I like what I'm seeing. So this went on a bit thicker than I would like, but hopefully it'll... It's a metallic air paint, so it dries pretty thin. I don't think there's a concern. Or rather, I don't think there's cause for concern. A nice dark metal trim, so when we come back to the edge highlighting stage, these will really pop. Buchu says, never seen this Lorgar model before. Oh, I guess, how rude of me. Welcome to the stream, okay? Welcome to the stream, Buchu and Spicy Jacob. Jeez, you can really feel the rust on my end here. Yeah, this model is from Artel W. It's called Suvarnael. And look, I don't get a lot of affiliate stuff, but Artel was kind enough to send me this. So if you guys are interested in picking it up, use my affiliate link, alright? Then they'll know that the model they gave me helped them sell product. Which in turn may result in them sending me more goodies. And that is the pitch. Yeah, the model is quite nice. It has a ton of options. I went with more of a standard sort of Lorgar, but you could build them as like a counts as Abaddon or just a full-on Demon Prince. So it's quite a cool kit in that regard. You can build them your way. I think I'd go over all the options in my unboxing video. This belt buckle is trim. Just looking at my reference off screen here. Well, a bit of overspill, but maybe the wash will hide it. In the worst case scenario, we can do a bit of cleaning, but I would like to try and minimize that if we can help it, right? Uchu says, sick, I'll give them a look. Right on. Yeah, Artel makes nice miniatures. I will say that. Their newer stuff as of late is particularly a cut above, I'd say. A cut above. Robert Pidgeot, welcome to the stream. This character is, well, like in my army, it'll be accounts as Lorgar. But it is a third-party model, which is why you may not recognize it. A third-party model from Artel W. I've pinned my affiliate link to the chat, to the live chat. I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool model. It appears that you guys can't see anything that I'm painting. Trust that I am. I'm painting like the underside of this trim. It's be pretty difficult to capture on camera anyways. Yeah, that armor's looking way better for all this trim getting picked out. It's like I've never done this before. Now we got these little armor sockets on the back of his legs. I think those should be metal color. That feels right. Robert Pidgeot says, looks deadly. I'll check out the link. Ah, much appreciated. I think even clicking on the link does something for Artel's metrics with regards to my affiliate link being used. So, yeah, that's appreciated, whether or not you buy anything. Let's carry this trim down this side. Uh-oh. Let's remove this. Let's remove the... What's the name of this mace? I keep forgetting. Illuminarium? Let's remove Illuminarium out of the way. I have begun negotiations with a Ultramarines buddy of mine for a thematic showdown at some point between Rabute and this Lorgar here. I think it'll be epic. As for when, I don't know exactly when that'll take place, because I'm not exactly focusing on the word bearers at the moment. I think that's what it's all about, right? Yeah. You spend your time realizing your dudes, and then you get that payoff by putting them down on the table and rolling some dice. Okay, so on the sample artwork, they paint these little spikes metal, but I don't know if I like that. Not sure if it's a look I like. I'm looking at the 30K model, but we can't really use it too much. It's not... Well, it can't be an adaptation, right? Because it's a third-party model, so there's going to naturally be some differences. You know, we'll remove this book too. That's some nice outlining with the wash here on this lower trim section. And then we have a lip that's basically been drowned out by the wash. How do they paint this on the official model? Oh, they painted all trim. Maybe I can tab over so you guys can look at this as well. Yeah, right, so... yeah, this is the lower lip here I'm talking about. Yeah, so they painted all as metal, so I guess we'll do the same. Piotr Jeske, welcome to the stream. Piotr says, looks very cool. This is resin, right? Indeed, it is. It is resin. Yep, I have a unboxing video of this model where you can see him less painted. In a less painted, fresh out of the box state, and you can see the resin quality before any paint has been applied. But it's pretty good, in my opinion. It's pretty good looking resin cast. Very few mold lines and basically no deformations. Even the maul here is relatively pristine. it's got on a little thick here. I think it might be a problem. My fear is that I'll apply it and it will just be so viscous that it'll run into all of our etched runes on the armor. I'm a little concerned that I will lose the detail there, because the plan is to give it the glowing green treatment I've given my other word bearers glowing runes. But because it's sculpted detail and not a decal, I'm a little concerned we'll lose the detail readability if there's too many layers of paint, you know? Piotr says, having been doing much painting or much playing or hobbying, but I had to take care of my nieces, and as we had nothing to do, I gave them Leviathan Primaris to paint, and they liked it. Much better at painting than I was at 14 or 15. That's a awfully wholesome hobby story. Right, getting the nieces into painting. I think everyone can appreciate painting. Right, painting some miniatures is a pretty rewarding experience. Playing the game, it's a mixed bag in my opinion. Vitali Red, welcome to the stream, says, if you want true word bearers, Gunmetal Vallejo, Clear Tamiya X27, Clear Red Tamiya X27 Enamel, Gloss, Black Oils, Satin Varnish. Metallic word bearers straight from Forge World books. Airbrush, of course, for everything except oils. Oh, I appreciate the lowdown there, Vitali Red. Unfortunately, I have a particular look that I've gone for with my word bearers. Just more the range of color that I appreciate them to be in, rather than the truer red the GW depicts them in. But speaking to the word bearers aesthetic straight from the Forge World books, yeah, that darker, more scab red is what I prefer, and is what I've aimed for in my collection. Yeah, I don't know why GW likes to paint their word bearers like a red, such a bright red that you'd confuse them with World Eaters. Just an awkward choice, in my opinion. Vitali Red says, yeah, this is fine. Metallics are just so good for a huge army. I am at like 8k Horus Heresy. It looks so good. That's pretty hype. Those aren't rookie numbers, Vitali Red, but yeah, it's exciting to hear. That is exciting to hear. Well, happy to have someone in the chat who appreciates the word. Yeah, I am essentially in need of a new airbrush at the moment. Well, not in need, because I guess I don't need it if I can manage without it, but my previous airbrush wasn't anything too fancy. It's definitely, I think, reached its lifespan. But I kind of prefer jamming with a brush, to be honest. Eventually, later this year, I'll have a battle with this model against Rabute Gillivan, and we'll have an answer to the age-old question: can my dad beat up your dad? I feel like that's so much of what is driving Space Marine players. Oh, I just saw your message now, Vitaly Red. If you want, I can throw some pictures in Discord. I just don't know what channel. You can throw it into the Manufactorum channel. That's probably the most appropriate place. You should have a place for... should make a channel for, like, finished works, though. Right? I just don't know what to call it. Okay, so go to the back. the back of the foot here. Hopefully I get some good whips out of this little hobby session. Been trying to post on Instagram fairly regularly, but this week is looking like a lower than average post count. Okay, so we have trim on his butt plate here. Well, it's not quite a butt plate, but that is what I shall call it. You guys can't see shit. I'm painting this, there we go, that plate. Sensor orb here, which should be metal color. Probably will turn that gold after, but a metal base coat I don't think will. I think it'll only help. I see your pictures there, Vitaly. I see your pictures of your word bearers, and I gotta say, they look very nice. Very nice. I think I can tab over here. Yeah, look at this. Look at these nice word bearers. Enjoy it, chat. Look, what are we? Some kind of Warhammer community? Crazy, yeah. Green plasma is the way to go, I think, for word bearers. Got mesas, too. Very nice. And I have a not sure what unit this would be. Would this be a Praetor? I don't play Heresy myself. But I like the aesthetic, especially this shot. Just looks epic. Okay, where did we leave off on the trim? Lower body is complete. I think so. I think so. Yeah, okay. Let us proceed. Alex Malone, welcome to the stream. Message retracted. Oh. Probably wasn't safe for stream. Misfit, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Haven't done one of these in a while, but nice to see some of the familiar chatters popping up. We're painting trim. It's super exciting. This is a premium. This is the premium content. Painting trim. But this is how the magic happens. Misfit says, I'm back to making headway on my Tau. Very exciting. Remind me, was it a custom sept, or are you doing one of the official GW septs? Or is it an offshoot? Is it a Kroot army? A secret Kroot army? Yeah, the thematic list build enjoyer in me was very tempted to make a Kroot army when that box came out. I also think there's a certain charm in having an army that isn't trying to be OP. You know, there's humble, there's out there trying their best. Misfit says, Tau Sept, Ochre and Dark Crimson. Oh, Tau Sept is the classic color scheme, right? The ochre color. It's a good look. I do like it more than the Viorla, if I'm honest. The dark crimson, though, is that a unique accent color? Or is that just how... I can't remember, actually. Maybe that's the color of their marking. Is that the accent color of the Tau set? Anyways, Vitaly Red says, yeah, doing actually competitive armies is just so wrong and disgusting on so many levels. Yeah, I was surprised. I'm happy to hear people agree. Yeah, it's a little bit of a... I don't want to say it's a hot take. For my audience, probably not. But, yeah, I think in certain circles, that would be very frowned upon. Yeah, I'm just building an army that isn't aiming to be good at all. Just a bunch of Kroot riding lizards. That's a battle I'd love to see. An all-Kroot army versus an all-Zangor army. That'd be pretty neat. Vitaly Red says, Terminators are absolutely useless in Horus Heresy. Oh, that sounds like a unforgivable sin. That's terrible. Terminators are absolutely useless, but I have 20 of them. I have like 1 to 1,500 points of utterly useless but cool models in my army, with more demons on the way, which are also trash at the moment. That's a bummer for your army in particular. I mean, it is thankfully the minority of your army. It's not like not the majority, rather. So it sounds like most of your other units are fine. You can get by and still play games at least. But that's because you seem to have a big collection of word bearers. Other players may not be so lucky. If you were just a guy who likes to live his Terminator best life. Yeah, that sounds bad. Terminators are useless in Horus Heresy? Is that true? Sounds like something's fundamentally wrong. Misfit says, I'll drop some pics in your Discord. Oh, you dropped a few in the Manufactorum, Misfit. Very cool. I'll take a look in a moment. Take another little bit of a community showcase, hobby sharing showcase break from my own painting. Vitaly Red says, it is not. It is objectively a better way to have fun. You are more likely to just have fun with pillow slapping contests, and the game will be down to the wire. Yeah, the best games are certainly the ones where it's right at the end, you don't know who's gonna win, right? A nail biter, as they say. Silver Scratchbolt Productions, welcome to the stream. Hi peeps, looking for Deathwatch Terminators. You will find none here. Oh wait, I think I have one here. Look at this. Coincidentally, I have one of my buddy's Deathwatch Terminators. Well, it's for his Death Watch in air quotes. They're Alpha Legion slash Death Watch, but there's a Terminator here. Why do I have one of his Terminators? Because he has a Gene Stealer, and I am supposed to paint it like a High Fleet Gengar Gene Stealer. Oh, and there's a cool weapon here. Look at this. Look at this modified Xenotech weapon. Super cool. Look at that acid spray. A miniaturized acid spray. Only the Death Watch could figure that one out. Okay, let's take a look at Misfits. Hosts. Okay. See if I can open these. Let me just make sure these are safe for stream. Yeah, this is the classic Tau scheme, I think. It's giving me nostalgia vibes. Alright, let's tab over. So here we have a Sky Ray. I believe this is what the people call a Sky Ray, right? Oh, I thought I was zoomed. I thought I was zoomed out. Or sorry, I thought I was zoomed in. Little did I know we're just gonna zoom in even further. Okay. We got Riptide. And I think some Fire Warriors. That's what these are called, right? Fire Warriors. With these burst cannons. That's what that is. Tau weapons. Or something I'm not especially confident in being able to call out. I think those are fusion guns by the looks of them. Misfits, a kit bashed Sky Ray. Right, yeah, so that's... Okay, yeah, it does look different on the sides here. See, it's my unfamiliarity with Tau, where it's like hard for me to verify. Is it a kit bash? Is it not? Yeah, but you know what? It does look... Yeah, this looks different now that you're pointing it out. And then I think there might be some kit bashes here too, right? Do these kind of Fire Warrior type guys, do they normally have these weapons? I feel like these are from stealth suits, right? So this is definitely some personal flex, which I encourage. Very cool. Yeah, Ochre Tau Sept warms my heart. Misfit says XV 1.5 stealth suits. Vitali says the glow is actually well done. Misfit says those are the OG boys before the egg suit. Really? Oh, that's an awesome flex. Very cool. Gotta keep those old models around. I say. Why run out just to replace? Just to replace with something new. The old models have their charm. It's a matter of personal taste, but... Okay, so... Yeah, we gotta paint the star on the back of this shoulder pad. Oh, it's kind of like a half star. Now, the Artel paint job, it doesn't look like there's any metallic features on the backpack, on the nacelles or anything. It's all just armor color, which I don't know if I love. And 30k Lorgar's paint job. It does have his trim color ringing these nacelles here. So, but the rest of the model, wherever there is etched sigils, is not trim. So I think I should respect that design language and keep things consistent. So if we do want to add some color to the backpack, some metallic color, gonna have to be a bit choosy. Could go with these ringed sections there. Actually, how does it look with our chaos icon? Is it too loud? I mean, adding in trim to break up the backpack is not gonna draw too much attention from our icon up there. Should be okay. Scratch Build Silver's Scratch Build Production says, I'm running the Throne of Judgment Inquisitor with Deathwatch. Just got 2 of their flying ships and 7 knights to fill in the gaps. Whoa, 7 knights to fill up the gaps. Sounds like you got more than just a gap there. Vitaly Red says, not gonna lie, old Mark III is so much better than the new ones in every way. True! Absolutely true, Vitaly Red. I like where your head's at. Yeah, the new Mark III, it's lacking the hard surfaced edged detail that I liked in the previous sculpt. And I don't know why they felt the need to modify the design the way they did. I don't know what the gain was. But surely there's some people who've created STLs aping that older aesthetic. I would have to imagine. Misfit says, took me some eBay scouring to gather the XV15s at a good price. Vitaly Red says, I like this model, but to me it is way too Warcrafty, as most models from Artel. I can appreciate what you're saying. The feet especially feel very Warcrafty to me. Yeah, it definitely has that quality. I don't know what else to call it. Warcrafty's perfect. Vitaly Red says, and the model's so overloaded and over-designed. I like simpler stuff, to be honest. I'd be curious to know what to hear what you find as over-designed on this model. It doesn't seem too loud in that department to me. But it could just be a case of different strokes. C.R. Smith, welcome to the stream. Says, I'm gonna let you finish, but Mark 6 is the best armor for Space Marines. Beaky's all the way. Mark 6 is alright. I'm more of a, I don't know, Mark 7. Which one's errant armor? Mark 7? No, you know what? I like Heresy armor. I think that's what they should have made the poster boys of the Horus Heresy. That's the mark they should have used. Use the armor mark called Heresy in your Horus Heresy game. Personally, I think they went with Beakies for nostalgia bucks. Misfit says, I think I may be getting into Thousand Suns next. Yeah, interesting. Are you excited for those automatons, Misfit? It's a rather controversial thing to like, I found out. And I don't hate them as much as others. I like the idea. But I think the paint job, I think I said this in a video. No, I said it in a post. I think the paint job is hurting those models more than anything. Okay, we're going to break up the backpack with a little bit of silver and this intake fan, I guess. And we'll want the skull silver also, I think. Silver Scratchable Production says 30k Death Guard doing a lot of Nurglifying to make the look like they're starting to warp. Misfit says, kind of, I'm thinking I will likely kit bash them with some Mechanicum bots of a similar scale to make them look a little more dynamic. Yeah, I think they could stand to look a bit more dynamic, but at the same time, if it's supposed to be that rigid battle automata, I suppose you don't have to make them look more dynamic. You could get away with more of the static look. I feel like because GW is so averse to even opening up the conversion door for people to you know, just imagine these battle automata for Thousand Suns, which were recently revealed. Imagine that they were to the size and scale of the Heresy Castellaxes and the like. That would open up the door for people to convert, or counts as, or, you know, buy the 30k kit and, you know, convert it maybe, or, you know, be creative to their heart's desire. And I feel like GW is just so averse to even opening up that door for the fringe creatives in the community, right? And so they went with the smaller scale battle automaton instead. I'm doing a lot of intuiting there, but I think it lines up. I won't say that's the reasoning, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is, if you know what I mean. Alright, so look at this. Basically, got the trim all done except for his headpiece. I could probably remove his head just to make this easier to paint. Yeah, we'll let this dry a little bit and then remove his helmet so that we can paint it easier. So we'll pull this And create some space for his face. C.R. Smith, welcome to the stream. Is this guy a word bearer? Yes, he is. He will count as a certain Primarch for my word bearers. That's for sure. He's apt. He's apt for it. He's dressed for the part, and he's on the right size base. Well, I say this, but there's no official model to reference him to. He's on a 60mm base, so he can have a cool showdown with Gilliman. But he's got the right war gear. A book and a mace. What else would Lorgar need? Misfit says, I don't know. Lately, GW are putting out more videos talking about kid bashing, so maybe there's been some change in vision there. Oh, that's an interesting tidbit there, Misfit. Thanks for pointing that out. Vitaly Red says, at what the 40k, you can check in Discord. I upscaled old Mark III to new Mark III with unpainted and painted versions. You can also check the possibility / swapping of old models with magnets. Let's see. Okay, I think I found the pictures here. Vitaly, I think I found the picture you're referencing. I'm just going to tab over here. Right, so this, I think, is what you're referencing, right? This is your rescaled old Mark III to new Mark III. Is that correct? Yeah, like the differences are subtle, but like I just love the face of the classic Mark III helmet. But this is the new Mark III helmet, correct? So they've traded helmets? I hope my judgment on this is correct, but I believe that's what I'm looking at here. Margaret Woods, welcome to the stream. Primaris Mark X armor is the best armor, period. Not why in my head, the Patriot style. Yeah, look, Primaris armor is fine. It's fine. It's fine looking, right? I don't think anyone has an issue with how it looks. That's the least of people's criticisms around Primaris. Vitaly says, yeah, this is the new Mark II helmet on the left. Okay, right. Yeah, I recognize that helmet from the, I think the vehicle upgrade frame in the Age of Darkness box. Anyways, tab back over. C.R. Smith says, I have a group of intercessors that are Mark III Marines with intercessor arms. The new bolt rifles are almost as big as the Marine's leg. Yeah, bolt rifles are pretty big. Yeah, that's why they got that AP, right? They're bigger and they're better, and I hate it. Okay, let's pull up that headpiece. And we got our little special painting handle just for helmets. So why bother painting the back of it if no one's going to see it, right? And I guess the answer is because I'll know. I guess I'll paint this metal too. I've painted these weird nodules on the armor elsewhere, metallic, so I might as well carry that through. C.R. Smith says, I hope in later lore they connect the Cursed Founding with the Primaris Marines, showing it like a failed run of the Primaris Founding. Well, that's an interesting idea. It is interesting how it took Call 10,000 years to barely improve what the Emperor did with 5 rocks in a cave in under a century during the Unification Wars. Exaggerating, but still. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't hate that Call has made Primaris. I have spoken with people who found that to be a sticking point. How could Belisarius, how could this guy, who they just invented, just come up with improving the Emperor's work? But I don't think it's terribly... I don't think it's in poor taste, is what it is. I think... You know, you can take Primaris out a few extra parts, a few extra organs, and you take your basic Marines and then add a few more organs, and then there you are. Okay, so I think we have one area that's in need of metal, which is this lower lip here, and I guess the star here too. The little half star on the back of these shoulder pads. Yeah, this is getting a little precarious to reach, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, that should do. Oh, and I guess the badge on his chest, probably. Yeah, probably need to paint that. The not serrated sun. That's what this is. Okay, so that should be all the trim. Fingers crossed. Okay, so... Oh, you know what? Jeez, how could I forget? His hands. We removed his hands, so obviously... I don't want to neglect those. Actually, the hands don't seem to have any areas of trim, but the book has trim. The question is, do I want the book's trim to be gold or just kind of like a silver color? Maybe we make the book gray, like old Legion colors, and then we'll go with gold trim, kind of like like Lorgar's old armor color. As for the mall here, Illuminarium is... I'm looking at the Horus Heresy model. Here, I'll tab over. Illuminarium has a steel core with gold phalanges. That is probably the technical term. So we'll probably go with that. Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor, welcome to the stream. Misfit, I just saw your message. Misfit says, I don't hate Call and the Primaris. I kind of like that the story has started moving forward and some factions have been fleshed out more, like the Necrons. You know, I like that idea too, Misfit, but recently I've started to feel that the GWs really only advanced the story during 8th edition. And since then, it's basically been a series of time not moving forward, but a series of events that just describe, and this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening. But the story isn't progressing in that same way. So I don't know how chat feels about that, but I can't help but feel that's the state of things. But I'm all for the story progressing. Like I desperately want Lion and Rabute to talk. I desperately want that to happen. Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor says, hey there, Adult to 40k, how's it going? We're just chilling here, Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor. Thanks to everyone who joined the stream and shared in the hobby camaraderie. We're painting our Counts as Lorgar. The metal colors. But looks like the metal colors after this are basically done. So the plan is probably to paint the next armor component, which for me is going to be the soft seals and rubber kind of tubes and similar type materials. So looking at the 30k mace, the upper section of the neck here is gonna be gold, so I think it's just the orb just the orb in the middle is gonna be our metal color. And then this thing is mostly gonna be gold. I mean, this is one of those pieces that if it ever dropped and blunted, like if these spikes were dropped and became not so sharp, not so pristine, I'd be very sad. One of my buddies told me the story where he painted a gene stealer called Patriarch, and that's like a brood lord but with a lot of spikes on his back. And as soon as he was done painting the model and taking photos of the model, because he's a good painter, he dropped it, and the model was forever ruined because you're not gonna really be able to repair with minimal effort, anyways, that kind of damage. You could green stuff spikes, but in my opinion, green stuff is too soft for this kind of hard surface detailing. You'd have to start mixing your green stuff with some epoxy. Yeah, I think I got all the areas of the mace here. And then it's basically going to be gold with a red handle by the looks of it, so I think that's it for metal colors. So I do have Vallejo, a new dropper bottle of Vallejo black paint, but if I'm being honest, the Vallejo paints they have a matte finish, which I love for my High Fleet Gengar, but not too fond of it for soft seals, because I like my soft seals I like them to be glossy. Sort of as a contrasting material type. So usually what I use is some of this Inktense Black from Scale 75. But for a base color, I think I have Abaddon Black somewhere. I have to find it. But we got Game Color Black. Good enough. Good enough. Misfit says, I want Rabute to be in a jam, and the Lion Forest walks in to help him out. I could see that happening. Dynamic entry style. Maybe they could put Rabute against Fulgrim, sort of like a history about to repeat itself kind of situation. And then the Lion can come and save him, I guess. And then Fulgrim will say, "Curses! Johnson, you have foiled me for the last time." And then we get the scene we all want. I kid. Well, I half kid. Well, I am very curious to see what happens with Leman Russ. There's quite a few ways they could go about with his return, or at least his the direction of his current status. Like, will they do Wolfman Russ, or will they do the wizened Odin style Russ, you know? Misfit says, I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you and your lion. Yeah, pretty much that exactly. Yeah. Yeah, now that we have so many Primarchs back, we really should have more interactions. You got 4 big demon Primarchs back. They should have a meeting, you know? One of them should, maybe it should be Abaddon. He should get on the phone and call everybody up and say, listen, hey, everybody, we gotta have a meeting. I feel like we should all do something. Like, not individually, because then we lose every time. But let's get together and do something. Okay, I gotta paint in these rubber hoses. I do like this backpack a lot. It's just nice to have a... I know this is not an official GW model, but I am tickled that there's a Primarch here who does not have wings. Why must GW give every Primarch wings? It's like... I think of... I think of, like, child me designing characters. Like, oh, this guy would be... You want to make this guy cooler? Wings! Let's give him wings! I'm like, why does every Primarch need to have wings? Thankfully, I like to believe that they've exhausted all of the wings they could give Primarchs. Like, if Leman Russ comes back, like, he's not gonna have wings, right? Like how? How could they justify the design motif of wings? For Lionel Johnson, it's like, fine, Dark Angels, like, fine, you get some wings, and Rabute is like the Resin returned Avenger, right? So he gets that angelic imagery incorporated into his backpack, I guess. But yeah, it's like all 4 Terminator Primarchs have wings. Like, if GW does a model for Perturabo, is Perturabo gonna have wings? This is my question. I want to believe in my heart the answer is no, right? The optimist in me, rather, would like to believe no. But another part of me says, oh man, he probably will. else do we have these soft seals? I guess here. Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor says, Korax will have wings. Yeah, he gets a pass. He's a jump pack. He's a jump pack guy from before. It kind of makes sense. Especially if he's all warped. He gets a pass on wings. I say give Purdy wings. He's already a hypocrite who sold out anyway. Why not have him have things that goes against his character? Oh, jeez. You make a compelling argument. Though, I still hate it. Misfit says, did Artel W do a Magnus? I don't believe so. For the most part, their recent Primarch-ish models all seem to be, they seem to be prioritizing Primarchs which aren't on GW's shortlist, let's say, for returning to 40k. Right, because you have, I think they have a Sanguinius and a Conrad Kurz, like a Night Haunter, and then they have this guy. However, I really like the Conrad Kurz, but I'm not especially fond of the Sanguinius model of theirs. I mean, the model is fine. I just think the way the wings are basically makes it impossible to play on the tabletop. You're going to be doing a lot of turning him sideways to fit in between terrain pieces, because the wingspan is like, well, my camera is too zoomed in, but it's outward in this direction across his body, which looks cool for an art piece, but in a practical sense, not so good. Hence another problem with wings, right? Like, it comes full circle. Wings are bad, okay? Yeah, I would be pretty curious to see what Artel does for a Proto-Rabo type Primarch. Well, those are all the soft seals. Okay, let's get some Inktense Black going, and then... okay, we still have more time. I thought we might have been further ahead. So, get some Inktense Black and see what it does for us. Oh my god, look at this. Staring me right in the face. This knee pad needs metal color. I can't believe that. How embarrassing. What a fool I was to think I was done painting trim. Yeah, let's get some black stuff in there. And on that side, yeah, I probably should, but I probably should have done this before painting the metal colors. Best practice is to paint inside to outside. But you know, sometimes I don't like to follow my own advice. Bit of a rebel that way. Shoot. There we go. Alright, I think that should, for the most part, cover the soft seals. Man, most models I just get away with making them glossy and edge highlighting everything else, and then I find the visual fidelity just sort of balances out because you're edge highlighting armor panels, adding glowing elements, and then no one's looking at the soft seals anyways. So where does that leave us? The Legion badge for word bearers is black, typically. Flaming, sorry, it's a black demonic skull over a fiery badge, but on this model we have a demonic face over a scroll. So we'll have to make do with that. I guess we could. I don't want to begin any sort of glowing elements, because that's a whole process. So the time remaining, let's just start painting down some browns for our parchment colors. Will that yield? Let me think about this. Could do capes instead. Now let's do the browns. Let's do the browns. Although, there is one last soft seal area to do. And it would be the face. Or these two heads, at least. There is some armor color that needs to be done on this unhelmeted head. Okay, so for the browns, or the parchments, I think I'll be doing Steel Legion Drab. It's a pretty good base color for that kind of material. You can build it up with some skeleton bone in the future. That might be a bit too thick. So how about those drop pods? Did anyone want new drop pods? I mean, I can confirm that the old drop pods were a pain to build. Very repetitive with the amount of cleanup you had to do. But I don't know, I feel pretty like milk toast on that reveal. See, if that kit came out and they said, you can buy this for Chaos also, and then, you know, have access to the kinds of tactical tools you ought to have as a Chaos Space Marine Legion, I'd be much more warm to the idea. Here, we can paint the book also, and that might be good for the thumbnail, actually, the comparative thumbnail shot. Friendly Neighborhood Inquisitor says, I want them. Old ones were a pain to build. I agree. I only have one pod, so I could go for more. It is true. I mean, I could. It wouldn't hurt to have two more, but at the same time, there's no real need. For myself, anyways. Let me think about this. So, in a kind of rare case, the drop pod, as far as I'm aware, the new drop pod is going to have two models in the kit. And so I can't help but imagine this is essentially an easy to build SKU item that might be coming out of the production. It might be a product derived from the design pipeline which makes terrain. Now, this is a huge leap I'm making. But if that's the case, and it is that lower quality kind of plastic that you get in the terrain kits, then maybe that's why they're putting two of them in there, to kind of shore up the value. Because two easy to build terrain, I don't want to call them terrain, but fortification, utility style kits is kind of a hard, it's a hard sell. If you're selling just one at a standard GW price for a unit, I think optically it's kind of undesirable. But if you're selling two, you can probably sell them at your normal price point, and then it feels good. We'll have to see what the final price ends up being. That's sort of my gut intuition on the prospect. Because I was kind of like surprised to see, like, oh, there's two? GW's making a vehicle kit and they're putting two of them in there? It's not often. You don't get that often. Misfit says, I think Purdy should be akin to a demon engine. Yeah, there's different ways you'd go about Perturabo. I think Legion purists want him to be not into the demonic. But I think other people would prefer him to be more Obliterator-like. Yeah, so it's an interesting one, because I'm not really sure which way he'll go. I think as a Trader Primarch, just categorically, you need to have some warp taint. Right, you can't just be a Primarch version of Abaddon, because then now he's not special either, right? Okay, so we're running low on time here. Running low on time here. Let's get some Steel Legion layered onto this book. And this book is gonna it's a nicely sculpted book, I'll say that. And at the end of the day, when this guy's done, I think it's gonna look great. But right now, with just the Steel Legion pages, I think it's gonna look pretty drab, pun intended. I'm not too keen on making this like perfectly even coats, but just in the larger pages, the more forward-facing details will build up a nicer base color. Whoops. Oh, did the magnet come out of this? No, that's good. Why is the hand so loose? Look at this. He's like limp. Oh, there it is. It seems like if you rotate it too much. Might have to revisit the magnetizing job, or the magnet job I did there. In any case, there's him holding his book. Yeah, looking better for that trim, that's for sure. Nicely breaks up the various components of the armor, which I like. Oh, you know what? We have some parchment back here that should have been done. Let's try and do that real quick. And here I was ready to wrap up. Okay, it might need another coat, but As far as getting color on the components, it is adequate. Alrighty, well, there he is. We have our second painting stream of our counts as Lorgar in the bag. So what will we do next stream? Do we start in on the glowing details? Maybe. You could. Definitely could. You know what, before my scale 75 Inktense Black dries, we should use it on these tubes. It is not something I wish to waste. Misfit says, very nice. Well, I appreciate it. Okay, there he is. We're done this time, I swear. Look, there's no turning back. We're out of here. Thanks to everybody who tuned in to the stream and shared in the hobby camaraderie. And if you made it to the end of the stream, you are worthy of a rank that I like to call Hobby Hero. In any case, guys, I don't think there's going to be a hobby or homebrew spotlight this weekend. Probably a Grimdark Therapy. That's how things are looking. Little toit for toim this week. But with that, I'll catch you in the next one.